Let me just say this, there are plenty of cost of living videos out there, especially about the Twin Cities. Well, this is the first one of 2021. And guess what? It didn't get any cheaper. What's up everyone? I'm Nick Sundall with Acta Homes and this is Minneapolis Living. I make videos about moving to the Twin Cities and of course living here. And I do that from a realtor's perspective. So if that's the content you're here for, well then hit the subscribe button. When you're there, ring the bell. That way you're alerted when I upload new content each week. Now for this cost of living video, I wanted to focus on 5 categories. That includes transportation, groceries and food, healthcare, utilities, and housing. Now the metro area is upwards of 16 counties, but for this video I wanted to focus on Hennepin County, where Minneapolis is located, and Ramsey County, where St. Paul is located, because they're the most expensive and they really give a better example, because if you were to move outside of those counties, you could reasonably assume that it would be more palatable in terms of cost of living and more affordable. Now for comparison's sake, the Twin Cities are on par with Seattle, Tacoma, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, as well as Denver, Colorado, both in media market and population, and they sit somewhere in the mid-teens in the overall rankings. 2020 census isn't out yet, so that may change, but it gives you a really good idea if you either live in one of those communities or if you are considering Minneapolis St. Paul to one of them. Which leads me to our first category, and that's transportation, because the Twin Cities area is mostly a commuter community. Our costs are about 8% higher than the national average, and that's mostly because people drive everywhere. We do not have the most robust public transit system. We do have a nice bus system when it comes to Minneapolis and St. Paul proper, and our train system is growing, however, slowly. If you wanted to use public transportation, you can look to about $2 per ride, anywhere up to $6.25 a ride. If you're looking at commuting, maybe from one of the outer suburbs and then you have to work downtown, we do have a lot of park and rides, which are parking lots, grab the bus and take it into the city. That way you don't have to park downtown and pay crazy parking prices. Cost of gasoline is roughly in the national average, anywhere from $2.25 a gallon to $2.75 a gallon. But like I said, our prices really come from the amount of miles that people put on their cars from all the commuting and driving, because we are a highway and mostly on a grid system. Now the second category is our food and groceries. Overall, the Twin Cities area, you're going to spend about 7% more than you would compared to the national average. I'm going to start more on the restaurant side because, well, there's a lot of question marks coming along with that. For the most part, restaurants have been closed in the Twin Cities area for the last 6 to 8 weeks, and we're only now at about 50% capacity because of COVID. Who knows where these numbers go in terms of what they might have to make up on the back end, but I'm gonna just give you kind of some historical numbers before the pandemic hit. And that opening price point restaurant is gonna cost anywhere from $40 to $60 for a party of 2, and that of course includes tip, tax, and depending on whether you drink alcohol or not. If you want to move more into the mid-range restaurants, these are kind of the independents. They're making more farm-to-table type food, more high-end type stuff. You can easily expect to spend anywhere between, say, $80 to $120. Again, these are all for parties of 2 with tax and gratuity included. And then we do have a few fine dining restaurants, and of course that's $150 on up, depending on, of course, what you decide to consume. But you can reasonably expect, if you like to dine out with you and a partner, $100. That, to me, that if you're not expecting to spend that kind of money, then you really have to look at what kind of restaurant you want to go to, because a lot of the restaurant scene that has grown considerably here in the Twin Cities. Now, when it comes to your groceries, we're on par across the board, except for actually baked goods. For whatever reason, they're more expensive, but a loaf of bread is anywhere between $3 and $4 a loaf. You can look, a dozen eggs is about $1.50 to $1.75. Gallon of milk is $3. So across the board, we're kind of a little bit higher than the national average. However, turkey and pork is actually grown in the state of Minnesota quite prevalently, so we actually are less expensive in both of those commodities than you're going to find in the rest of the country. So if you're fans of turkey and pork, well, good on you, you've lucked out. Now on to healthcare. The thing about Minnesota and the Twin Cities is our healthcare system is really actually quite great. We have one of the best healthcare systems in the entire nation, but you do pay for it. It's about 5% more than you're going to find on the national average. Now that 5% is really a convenience factor because not only do we have accessibility to really great healthcare, but you have the ability to go on MNsure. It's a state-run site where you can compare different insurance programs for you or you and your family. Now, the average program for an individual is about $375 to $400 a month for a healthcare plan. That being said, if you are a couple in good health standing, you can expect to spend anywhere from $475 a month to $600 a month for basic plans. Of course, if you wanted really robust plans or if you had some kind of underlying health issues, it may be a bit more expensive, but MNsure is actually a free site to use if even you just want a comparison shop of what it would cost to purchase a health premium program. Category number 4 is utilities. Utilities vary greatly here because not only are you going to be running your furnace and or your boiler or what have you, whatever you use to heat your home in the winter, you're going to be running electricity for your air conditioner in the summer because Minnesota has not only very cold winters, but it can have really hot, humid summers, in which case you're going to be using both systems throughout the year. So overall, utilities are a little bit more expensive than you're going to find on the national average. And the funny thing is, I looked at a bunch of different sites and some say that it's actually less expensive, but I'm not exactly sure how and what categories they're bringing into account here. So when it comes to your utilities, let's start with if you're a renter. A lot of your utilities are actually built into your rent. So if you want to live in an apartment building, more often than not, the building itself includes, say, heat and water and garbage, and you only pay for, say, internet and electricity. Whereas if you own your own home, you've got a slew of new utilities to pay for. Internet in the Twin Cities is anywhere between $40 and say $90 a month. You know, obviously there are all sorts of different programs and whether you want to sign new contracts, what have you, but that's a really good general range to expect depending on your needs for internet. When it comes to overall utilities and what it's going to cost you a month, again, it depends on the size of your home, but you can reasonably expect to spend anywhere between $150 all the way up to, say, $500 a month. And again, this depends on the size of the home, whether you own the home or you rent, and what your programs are. Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy, Xcel being our electric and CenterPoint being our gas, actually have programs to mitigate out of unforeseen bills that you might have in peak months. So say, for example, in January and February, when it gets very cold here, you can run your furnace nonstop. Well, your gas bill can go kind of through the roof for those particular months. What CenterPoint will do is take averages of all the months and you can now push that throughout the 12-month period. That way you don't have any spikes in terms of your bills. Same goes for Xcel. In the summer months when you're running your air conditioning a lot, your electricity bill can go quite high. So you want to make sure that you take advantage of these programs if you're used to a strict monthly budget. Hey, you finding value in this video? Man, I'd love it if you hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment if you have any questions, but don't forget to subscribe. And you know, the only thing I like better than making these videos is helping people move to the Twin Cities and enhance their lifestyle through home ownership. So if that is you, I would love it if you reached out. You can call, text, email, hit me up on social media, but I'd love to start that conversation. Now, moving on to the most important category, and that's housing. How much is it going to cost to rent or buy a house here in the Twin Cities? Well, our rental programs are really on par with the national average. So that does not vary very much in terms of what you would spend on a 1-bedroom and studio and even a 2-bedroom apartment. You can look to expend anywhere from $800 a month upwards of, say, $1,400 a month, depending on the neighborhood and or area and, of course, the quality of the building itself. Now, if you want to rent, say, a 3 or 4-bedroom apartment or even a house, that's where prices start to go upwards pretty quick. You can expect to spend anywhere between, say, $1,600 upwards of $3,000 a month if you want one of those larger units or if you want to rent single family homes. In terms of purchasing a property, our median sale price in the Twin Cities region is $325,000 for a single family home. Now, when I say median price, that's the dead center. There's equal amount of homes sold on the high end as they are on the low end. 325 is about 17% higher compared to the national average. So it is a bit more expensive to buy a home here in the Twin Cities as opposed to the national average. But there are some situations in which it's better than the rental comparison if you decided to buy. Condos and townhouses are much more affordable in the Twin Cities. You can look to spend anywhere between, say, $100,000 to about $250,000 for condos and townhomes. So overall, housing is a bit more expensive in the Twin Cities. It's about, like I said, about 17% higher than the national average. And the overall cost of living in the Twin Cities area has grown 1.4% compared to last year. So this is Minneapolis Living. I really appreciate you watching. Please stay safe, please stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.